we'll navigate you through. Every Wednesday night, new topics ignite. Join the journey, let's take flight. Bringing insights that change our view. Derek's voice, clear and true. Tune in each week, discover new light. Life Chat Podcast, reach a new height.
Welcome once again to Life Chat Podcast. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for being part of the solution instead of part of the problem. It's a beautiful day outside. You know, I always talk about the weather, but today I'm not going to talk about the weather. I'm just going to talk about how I took the trip earlier. Yesterday actually took a trip over Jersey. So if anybody from New Jersey is watching this episode in near East Orange, where I went, y'all need to get those roads fixed. Put some petitions out or something, man. New Jersey got some terrible roads. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. The topic at hand is trust and process. And today we'll be discussing it with our featured guest, Mr. Ish. I'm just going to leave it as Ish because I always mess his last name up. So I'm just going to let him tell y'all what it is. You know, and here we go. Mr. Ish. Mr. Ish. I always mess your last name up, man. So can you just say your last name?
Cianferano.
There you go. I've been saying Cianferano, all type of stuff.
90% of people that try to say my last name don't know how to say it, so don't feel bad.
And it's terrible because I feel like I'm pretty good with words, but that just threw me completely off. But
yeah.
When we talk about the topic, man, the topic being trusting the process, man. We're just gonna jump right in. So with trusting the process, I'm just gonna give you what it means to me. For me, trusting the process as far as my recovery process is just believing that this one particular thing that I always is here. Like that's been true. But it makes all the sense in the world. No matter what it is, whether it's cocaine, whatever. If it's on, I won't get high. But there's something else in that if I don't get high, I get to live instead of just existing. It's a beautiful thing. So here we go, man. That was my little spiel. So we're gonna get into Ish and see what Ish has to talk about. You froze up on me, Ish. Mr. Ish. All right, we're back.
I'm sorry. It was for a minute there.
It's cool. No need to explain that. No need to explain it. It happens. Trust me, it happens. It happens. I keep telling people this is a one-man band. We
definitely want to hear what you were saying.
Things are going to happen. You can check it out. You can check it out during the replay. But come on, tell us what trust in the process.
Absolutely.
Give us your introduction and tell us what trust in the process is to you. Who is Ish?
Hi, my name's Ish. From Baltimore, Maryland. I just moved down here to the Eastern Shore. Love it. But anyway, trust in the process to me is believing that like something is going to happen. Okay. I want to get a job so bad, but I know that in due time it'll come, and I need to trust that that's going to happen. You know, like money situation. You know, I need to believe that I'm taken care of. That I have food in my stomach now. So, like I think it's faith. Maybe I'd like to say trust in the process is.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it
Gotcha.
is. And I had some stuff that I pulled up earlier online, and I was actually going to pop them on screen, but I chose not to. I chose against that because I just want things to flow naturally. But you know, and you mentioned faith and just having faith that things are going to work out. You know, but things not just going to work out on their own. We still have to do some work. And I keep mentioning the recovery process because that's what my life right now is geared toward, making sure that I recover from everything I've been through. So having that faith is really the key to, you know, keeping everything in perspective. For me, it is, because I realize now that if I don't believe that I can do this, if I don't believe and trust that I can keep pushing forward and maintain, then I'm probably not going to keep pushing forward and maintain it. It's all, you know what I mean? It starts up here. But
100%.
Let's get back into the topic, man. You said you had something for us. You had something you wanted to actually share with us.
Yeah, like, with the trust in the process, I'm new to recovery. This is my second time I had a relapse, and I had to learn the hard way what it means to trust the process. Like, I used to think recovery was waking up one day and being fixed, like, boom, all my demons, everything's gone. But, I know that it don't work like that. You know what I mean?
Thought you were just gonna be healed.
Yeah, absolutely. I was so naive to the fact, and not only that, we can have all the knowledge in the world. If we don't apply the knowledge that we know, it's just useless information.
Basically, that's real. It definitely is, man. And that's something that a lot of us fail to realize. I know me personally, I think that I know this stuff and know this and know that. Then, I have to ask myself, well, why did I relapse so many times? Or not even relapse?
Right.
Why did I? Because a lot of times I wasn't really working on anything. They say in order to relapse, you have to be working on recovery.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
a lot of times I just used. I was just abstinent and then used. But back to what you were talking about earlier. You mentioned earlier that you had something for us. You wanted to read something.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I got it. So, like I said, I wrote in there that, it's not just going to go away. There was nights that I thought I wouldn't make it. There was times where the streets, my habit, the pain felt louder than anything, not just to keep going. And I'd be lying if I say I never stumbled. But every time I fell, I had a choice to either stay down or to get back up. You know what I mean? That's trusting the process.
And obviously you chose to get back up.
100%. Absolutely.
Obviously. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about what that feeling is. How did that feel? Having to get back up from using again, from relapsing, from, the whole guilt thing.
So like you said, you got to be in recovery to relapse. I never was. I used to think like NA was a cult, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're going to be an addict for the rest of your life. So I would use and then get clean by going to jail, you know what I mean? Or stuff like that. So I fell so many times, and I would see my mother crying, my family worrying about me, and I wouldn't think nothing about it. I wanted more.
More.
You know what I mean? I just wanted more. And it was never enough. It was just never enough, man.
It's never going to be enough. But once we get it in us, that's all. I know me personally, I can't speak about anybody else's feelings, but I know that for me, once I get that taste in my mouth and I get that effect, I'm going. It's over. It's over. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to want. That's the only conversation that I'm looking for. Who got it? Where is that? How can I get it? All that type of stuff.
Absolutely.
Also, you had something that you went through recently, if I'm not mistaken.
A
medical situation.
Yes, sir.
And I actually was thinking. I thought about that when initially took place about the medical part, because in being in, like, you were in the hospital and all these with these different situations, right? And with your drug of choice, a lot of times other chemicals play a part in that, and it might reactivate something up here. How did that work? How did that work out for you? And let's talk about that process, because some other people may be going through the same thing, and that's what we're here to do. We're trying to share information and offer hope.
So I had a very bad bacteria infection. It's called necrotizing fasciitis. Really bad. I had 28 surgeries on my leg, and through that, my first, I'm going to say 12 days, I would not take no pain medication in there, and I was feeling that. It was excruciating until I talked to a friend of mine and told her, and she told me I was crazy. You know what I mean? She was like, you can't go through what you're going through without it, because I thought that was a relapse. I didn't know these things. You know what I mean? Um, but when it definitely did. Derek, the feeling came back. Uh, but I talked about it. You know what I'm saying? I talked about it. I had good friends that I utilized for that. Something I didn't do last time.
And you mentioned a real good point too about being not understanding the fact that you thought that would be a relapse, and
Yes.
I remember other people talking about that. This was a few years ago, a while back, but not realizing that as long as you're using the medication as prescribed, you're using it as it's supposed to be, as the doctor's ordering. No matter if the effect is, you might get an effect. There might be some type of
Yeah.
effect there, but it's the ultimate goal is to relieve the pain. Is not to
Yes.
just get high. As long as as long as you're using it as prescribed, it's not a relapse. Now, if you start abusing it and taking more than prescribed and seeking that
Right.
feeling, that's something totally different. But at least now you recognize that, and some other people, you might have just helped some other people with understanding what that actually is and what it means that they're actually
Yeah,
not
man.
doing anything wrong. So come on, let's keep going.
Yeah,
Let's keep going.
I'll go from there. Yeah. So I was heavily medicated in there. Half of my left inner is gone. They had to put mesh on. I forget what it's called, where they skin grafts. It's really bad. I don't know if I can show it on here. It's pretty bad. Um,
Now
but
that's not
I know,
nice.
dude. So I was in there for 2 months taking it. And when they sent me home with 2 bottles of these narcotics. And I didn't think twice. I gave them right to my mother and told them I didn't want to take them no more. I gave them to her and she flushed them. But what I did do, I immediately went back to rehab. The very next day, I went back to rehab and I utilized, the medication for detox there. Um, I
To
did
get that out of
that. Yeah, I got a shot, to help with the withdrawals from that, but I didn't get it no more after that, and I felt great, man. And that was my biggest worry: is am I going to feel these feelings that I used to feel that made me want to use? It scared me. It it really scared me, man. That they were going to come back, because opiates were my drug of choice.
hmm hmm And trust me, that's a lot of people's story. That situation right there is a lot of people's story. You go in the hospital for something, and they give you the medication, and that medication creates a feeling, a familiar feeling, and back off to the races again. And
Right.
it can start from anywhere. You know, um, for people that don't know, I'm just going to share. I'm sure you wouldn't understand, you wouldn't disapprove because you already mentioned it yourself. Basically, I met Ish in rehab. We were in rehab together. Um, do I even want to say the name of it? Sure, I'll say the name of it. We were at
Yeah.
Avenues together in Cambridge, and it was a totally different time then. But after hearing issues talking about the struggle of dealing with the medical situation and the medication situation, I just felt the need to have to mention the fact that Ish has been through some things with medical. And for other people that may be watching this dealing with medical issues, just to understand and focus on these key points that he's talking about these medications, and focusing on the key points and the facts that we just have to take care of ourselves and take care of our bodies, and don't second guess when it's time for you to reach out and ask for help. Because you mentioned it yourself, Ish. You took the initiative and went back to rehab because you didn't want to have to deal with those feelings again. What was that like?
Right.
What was that like when you took yourself, when you made the choice and decision to go back to rehab? And actually, this was to protect yourself and save your own life.
This time it felt completely different. I guess I hear them call it a pink cloud. That's how I felt the first time that I went in. But this time when I went in, I knew that this was it. Like, I didn't want to use anymore. And I'm like, 60 days, what's 60 days to the rest of my life? You know what I mean? But I was incarcerated for over a decade. And rehab, you got to share rooms with people. Yeah. You're going to go through stuff that they do that I don't agree with, a bunch of things. Yeah, man. And it's really bad because, where drug addicts are in there, and, some people don't know how to hygiene and stuff like that. So that's where I had to learn to be mindful, of their situations, which that helped me. In there, a guy named Mr. Dan, he taught me that, you know what I mean? And he also taught me that for every day, get 1% better. And by the time you leave here, you'll be 60% better than you was the day that you walked in here.
Huge turnaround, huge difference.
Yeah, man.
But Dan actually told you that, Mr. Dan?
Oh, yeah.
I've had to reach out to Mr. Dan. But
yeah, man. Dan, Holly, and Kristen, I was always in their office, picking them apart. Like, they gave me like the best information that I could get dealing with my situation, because I was comfortable talking to these people. You know what I mean? I have a very bad trust issue, that is one of my character defects that I have. And I know that's a big thing in recovery that you got to get rid of. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. Because in order to let somebody in and help you, you got to be honest and tell them how you're really feeling.
You said you mentioned you had trust issues. So with the topic being trust in the process, what was the process? What is that process like for you as far as opening up to other people now?
So now, if I don't know the person, I'm a pretty good judge of character when I have a conversation with them. And when we talk, most of the times it's like after a meeting. A lot of times it's after they shared. Because another thing I was afraid to do last time, like to get up and get my key tags or speak in a room full of people, but now when I do speak in meetings now, after the meetings, people will come up to me and talk, and I'll get their number and we'll talk. And it's not hard to me anymore, just to be honest. I don't know if that's like cliche, but it's gone, man. Like, I can feel that, how bad I want this, And another thing that Dan taught me was, you know, play the tape all the way through, you know.
Can you explain what that
So
means? Explain what that means for some people that may not understand.
okay, so playing the tape all the way through. When I relapsed, I obsessed and compulsed over a feeling. Um, and it was days before I did it. But when I did, before I did it, I thought about it, but I only thought about the good feeling of it. I didn't think about how I feel afterwards. People thinking that I'm high.
Because you probably
You know, yeah, absolutely. I know I do. But it's all the negative things, getting kicked out of the house, having to steal in order, all these things that I didn't think of before that, because if I would have remembered all this stuff, I would have never did it. Because I'm going to tell you what, my rock bottom isn't pretty.
mm-hmm.
My story, it's not pretty. And just looking back on that now, I never want to go through that again. So that's pretty much what it is. If we're always going to have a thought for the rest of our lives, but what you do is now when you play that tape all the way through and you think of your whole life of what you went through with your addiction, that's going to help not want to use. Like you're going to be like, nah, why would I give up what I have now for that? You know what I
So
mean?
end up throwing everything away, everything that you work hard for, no matter how much clean time you have, no matter how many days you have, how many months or years you have. That's hard work. It's hard work to stay clean. It's hard work. It's hard work to stay connected.
Yeah,
Your support
yeah,
network
absolutely.
for that one hit, because that one hit, that one shot, that one drink, that one whatever it is going to take you to a whole another place. And where
Yep.
the place is going to be, it's going to be back in a rehab. It's going to be possibly in the grave. Some people are not fortunate enough to make it through these experiences. We're still here and through our
Right.
experiences. So this is what this is all about. This is about sharing information, things that we understand now, and not just understand, but things we understand about ourselves now, to possibly help somebody else that are in similar situations or leading up to the same type of situation. Because
Right.
once one addict leaves, unfortunately, there's another one to take our place right behind us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's the whole goal. The whole goal is to share information, the things that we've been through, share our experiences, and help somebody else and help ourselves in the process. But I know for
Right.
a fact that you had something else that you wanted to read, and I'm waiting to hear. Waiting to hear what you got.
I mean, it was still like about my life. I wrote it down because, like I said earlier, I have a hard time. I'm nervous when I talk in crowd, but I don't feel that now. But
Because you're
I
not talking
wrote
in the
this
crowd.
down.
You're just talking on the
Well,
screen.
yeah, talking to a screen.
And all
But
you see is me.
yeah. So I wrote see, the process is slow and it didn't give you instant rewards, but it gave me something better. It gave me back. Something every little step, even when I didn't see the change, was building something. Like when I sat in silence instead of running to my old escape. Now, when I call somebody instead of isolating, when I make it through just one more day clean, these little moments didn't feel big. But looking back, that's the foundation of what I stand on now. I had to stop chasing the finish line and start respecting the journey, because recovery ain't about arriving perfect. It's about showing up and showing up real. It's not about looking in the mirror and saying, I'm still here, I'm still fighting, and that's enough today. So yeah, trusting the process saved my life. It taught me patience. It taught me to believe in progress even when I couldn't see it. And most of all, it taught me how to be true and trust myself, the part of me that refuses to quit. These were my feelings on the topic, and this is what I wrote down. So
You Googled
that's
that, didn't
just
you? You Googled that, didn't
nah, dude, nah. You will not find this on Google.
you? But that was definitely some good stuff though. Now we're gonna relate it. We're gonna tell us. We're gonna. I want to know how this. How why did that come to your mind? What was the process for you to put that on from brain to paper?
um, so I I'm my own worst critic. Okay. Um,
Okay.
like I can do so much good and do things and I don't say it, but people will tell me, how good and stuff like that, and I wouldn't believe it. And like when I
Like your
would
artwork.
and I minimize myself to people, especially people that didn't use, that ain't addicts. I would feel like I was below them. You know what I mean? And I would never get nowhere feeling like that. I don't do that now. Now it's a privilege for you to talk to me now.
There
Like
you go. That's what
I
I'm talking about.
absolutely. Like I know in my heart that what I do it for good. You know what I mean? And I have many talents. You know, and I do. I would give everything to everybody else and nothing to me. And I would used to say I'm bored, but it's not being bored anymore when I'm here. I'm at peace. Like I'm in a recovery house now. Um, I don't get out that much, but I do go to meetings like almost every day. But when I'm home, there's always something for me to do now. I don't just sit there and watch TV. I read now. My sponsor has me, reading and writing things down every day. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do next? You know what I mean? And I'm I'm learning in these books because a lot when you put something into action that you read and you write it down, I forget how much percentage it is that you remember when you write something down.
Right.
But when you write something down and you do it, you remember it more. So instead of me just reading it in a book and reading something and forgetting what I read, now it sticks with me and it feels, you know what I mean? I'm getting this knowledge.
Especially when you write something down, you can see it in front of you. I know it's like sometimes I write something down like a goal. I might write down I want to own a whatever blank blank blank. Now I can see
Right.
myself actually owning it. I can like kind of picture it
Right.
now instead of just having that thought one time and then it's gone the next day or 30 seconds later. But if
Oh
I
yeah.
continuously walk by and I see this piece of paper with this information on it, now it gives me something to actually work toward. But yeah, I definitely understand what you're talking about, and that's just like projecting. It's basically just putting it out there,
Right.
just giving that hope shot, man. Just giving the hope that this is possible. Whatever it is, whatever that situation is, whatever that thing is on that paper, it's possible. It's just up to us
Yeah.
to take the next steps.
Like I know that I don't know if this happens to everybody, but like a lot of times when I think something, it happens. And a lot of times, like with bad things, when I was using, it would happen. So yeah, when you do that, like the universe will put that in front of you. You know, if you keep telling yourself every day when you look in the mirror that you love yourself, you're going to do it every day. And now you're going to be so used to doing that, you know, you're going to love yourself.
You're going to start carrying yourself that way.
Right.
So, with that being said, I'm going to have to say this again, Ish. Do you remember I used to call myself Superstar?
I do. Yes, I do.
That was, and I used to always say it. Why you call
Yes,
yourself
you did.
Superstar? That was the reason why I call myself Superstar. And I always used to say that I call myself Superstar because if I feel that way about myself, if I say that enough and I start to feel that way about myself, eventually I stand a greater chance of conducting myself in that way. And I probably, more than likely, reach that status. I mean, it's not, not no huge level, but I'll just start conducting myself in that way, carrying myself that way. So that's what I was saying. But that's the same type of thing. If we start saying things and the affirmations, just like we speak affirmations, and you start telling yourself certain things, you start working toward that thing because it gets kind of embedded in your head, and you start acting
absolutely
toward that, working toward that,
Yes, sir.
But so we're gonna close this out in just a minute, but I did want to end this with this. Go back to the topic again, trusting the process, right? We already discussed what the situation is, and we're dealing with our recovery process. So I just want to know as far as I ask this question a lot, what type of information would you have for a newcomer, somebody that just came out of rehab, or somebody either that, or somebody that's still in the street that's on the fence about going to rehab or just wanting to get clean? What type of advice would you have for that individual right now? And how do you think that applied to you during your moments?
So I have pictures on my phone of what I look like in my addiction. And when I go out now, I go out and I look good. I make sure that now that I take care of myself. So if I did see somebody and they were out there, I can, you can have what I have, and I'll be like, look, this was me. I was you. I am you. You know what I mean? What I'm doing, you can do the same thing. And if you do, take suggestions, apply the things that you have learned. What are the things that they say, you got to change. The only thing you got to change is everything. And the biggest thing is in our mind, the way we think. And when you learn about this disease and what it does, how in our mind it wants us dead. You know what I mean? And it's like I look at it like a real battle that I'm going to go through with the rest of my life, and I don't like to lose. So I would let them know all this, and that you may not think people care about you, but they do. Like, everybody that's in recovery, we're all equal. You know what I mean? If somebody's got 30, 40 years, that doesn't matter. If I got today clean and they got, we're the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like flat out.
All right. Okay.
I would love to help somebody out, man.
I was about to say, you almost sounded like you were behind the desk,
counselor.
But
yeah, man.
So what is okay? Trusting the process, man. What do you see right now with us, with addicts, with recovering addicts? What do you see right now that is a plus in today's society with recovering addicts right now? I know what I see, but what do you see right now that's a plus?
Oh wow.
I know. I
First
know.
and for yeah, it's first and foremost, it's great and good people that I can talk to and not be judged. That's huge. You know what I mean? Because when I get stuff off my chest and I talk about it, I feel so much better. But not only that, these people in the rooms that are there, they are people that own their own companies that have great jobs that can get you into, a job um, that they're willing to sponsor people there, man. They'll sponsor you and show you to have what they have. I know that we are respectable people, um, and I say that because I think an addict we appreciate things because we know how fast it can go away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's it's I know that's how I am. I now I and like to be grateful. I hear people say they're grateful, but I think that being grateful isn't a word; it's an action. Um, Especially when they say it said, what does it say? No grateful addict will use. And that's true. 100% true. If you're grateful to have these friends, to have what you have, and all that stuff, you will not give this up to and use drugs.
And to just
Like,
have that peace,
period.
that peace of mind on top of that.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Oh man, don't get me started on that peace of mind.
I'm
That's
telling
one
you.
of the best things. Oh man, not to have to look over your shoulder, not to have to wake up every day wondering where you're going to get money from, not stinking, all these things.
And people
It's
actually
we
want you around and to be around you.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it used to be, oh, here comes Ish, and they will leave because
I had your pocketbook.
just the way that I was. And it's not like that anymore, and I love it.
And that came from you doing what?
Trust in the process.
You're the man. You're the man. You're the man. You're the man. I'm glad you caught that. I'm glad you caught that, man. I'm glad you caught that. So last thing, I said last thing twice, but we're gonna say it this time. But with your artwork, right? That's as far as I know. As far as I know, maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I
Yeah,
know, that's what I know you for is your artwork.
right.
Well, other
Yes,
than
sir.
being in rehab with you, but I saw your artwork, man. Your artwork is kind of amazing, and just talk about that a little bit. How does that? How does your artwork play a part in your recovery?
Um, yeah, I have a few things that I'm working on now. That I'm putting together. And it's stemming from, like, one of them is stemming from, like, the pain, and another one is the joy that I'm working on. But also, I got some paints, and I've been watching, like, Bob Ross. He's the man.
The happy
And
trees.
oh yeah, dude, he's the
Yeah,
man. Bob
I
Ross
just,
was the man.
I just
But
love watching that when I was
I,
little.
I absolutely. And I watched how these other artists, like the art that they do, how it's evolved, it blew my mind. And so now I'm trying to do stuff like that, because just drawing on a piece of paper, that's easy. There, I seen, just for instance, like, this lady painted this picture, man. It was with this skull and like it looked water. But once you turn the painting down, the top of the skull, like it was like different color paints going down out of the skull. You know what I mean? Like it was just, to me, as an artist, I just think it's amazing. You know, to some people they'll be like, that's cool, but it's amazing to me. And also, my tattooing, I've been doing. That's another thing that I want to get into, that that I love to do, either or with the artwork. And it's called Full Sails University, and it's a college. And what they told me is they are helping me get a grant to go to school. And what I'm going to be doing, it's like digital art and stuff like that, you know, like making like anime or cartoons or like billboards, and it's all done. They said, like, they send you a computer and a tablet, and just, you know how good that feels to be able to go to school, to go to college, and learn these skills that I can get a job doing this stuff. And it starts out at least $100,000 a year. You know what I mean?
Especially when it's something that you're already passionate about. It's not something that you have to start from the beginning. It's something that you're already passionate about, and you already have a head start on it.
Right.
And they're going to send you a laptop
and a tablet.
And a tablet. And the cool thing about it is it'll probably still be on your bed tomorrow, or wherever you put it.
Oh, man, talk about that, bro. That's another thing. That this is the longest that I've ever had an Xbox for, that I play, you know, every day. You know, it feels great. I like paying my phone bill every month. You know, it's just these. I think when they say like living your best life, I think that's part of it. You know.
Yeah, because we're not just existing, we're actually being a part of what society says, you know. But we're doing what we're supposed to do, and actually enjoying it, and not harping on the negative. You know, a bill,
yes, sir.
You're paying a bill. You know, now it's not like, I wish I still had this and I wish I still had that. I'm not worried about that, because everything is taken care of. You know, not looking for the big payoff when everything in front of you is everything that you need right now. You know, but that's all I have. That's all I have for tonight. Do you have anything else you want to offer?
I just want to thank you for having me. It was great. This is awesome.
And you made it the whole 44 minutes, man. 45 minutes.
I did. I'm proud of myself.
I'm proud of you, man. You didn't sweat. I don't see you sweat.
No, I'm not, man. And you told me the same thing too. And you were right.
It's just a general conversation.
Yeah, but, man. Yeah.
Like I always say,
but it doesn't matter what people think anymore. You know what I mean?
Not a national syndication, not a huge broadcast, not a huge national syndication, not yet. But it's going to get a lot better, and I'm going to stick with this as long as I continue to have guests come on and do what they're supposed to do. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you for joining tonight. Ish, thank you for
absolutely.
Thank you for being a part of Problem Life Chat podcast, and remember, trust the peace. Last.
Thank you.